cats. For those of you that watch the review series and know me, you know I am a major University of Kentucky athletics fan. I grew up Big Blue in my veins. Love the University of Kentucky, any sport, no matter what it is. And I grew up for the longest time not realizing that the University of Kentucky had a phenomenal wrestling program in the 70s and the 80s. Now, you guys and girls have already seen Garrett Headley on the channel. He was our 300th video. And today we have been, I guess, blessed is the right word, to get up with another University of Kentucky wrestling legend. And he has so much history he's going to let us have that I can't wait to dig into it. Sir, if you would, tell us who you are.
My name is Rick Dellagatta. I wrestled for the University of Kentucky, and it was the experience of a lifetime. Wrestling for the Big Blue Nation was truly a blessing.
And you were, of course, an SEC champion, NCAA All-American, and we'll get into all that a little bit later on in the video. Now, when we done Garrett Headley's video, we kind of started with him the same way we do everybody else, and that's what we're going to do with you, and kind of tie in your Kentucky connection. So I believe, if memory serves, you're maybe, or I guess Garrett's just a little bit older than you. Is that correct?
Yes, Garrett was a senior my freshman year, and I never redshirted. So Garrett was a senior.
All right. So now, if you would, walk us through how you got recruited, how Fletcher and Joe Carr and all those guys found you, and how you ended up in Lexington.
Okay, that's an interesting story. I was offered a full scholarship to wrestle for LSU. Coach Larry Shacatano had been starting a major program because the SEC was becoming a powerhouse in wrestling. You had Auburn, you had Alabama, you had Milkovich coaching, Florida had wrestling, Georgia, and we were making an impact. UK ended up being a top 10, top 20 school. I think we were top 10 twice when I was there. So I was all set to go to LSU my senior year, and I hurt my shoulder, and I wrestled my whole career with a hurt shoulder, but I got a call from Coach Shaq. Tana said, I have a guy named George Kakavis from up north. We're going to have him take your scholarship. So I was very disappointed. So I was speaking with, being recruited by UK back then, with a gentleman named Jeff Watkins. So Jeff arranged for me to fly out to Lexington. I flew out. I did my visit, and I was in the room wrestling with all the wrestlers, and I fell in love with Kentucky. And Jeff sent me a letter offering me a full scholarship to go to UK. I was ecstatic. So I met the Carrs, and Fletcher was, I think he was the first African-American head coach in the history of Division I wrestling. Amazing coach. We had Joe Carr, who was my mentor. We had eventually Randy Miller. But meeting the Carr family changed my life. Even today, when I coach guys, I say they're a second-generation Carr. But I met Joe and Fletcher, and I relocated to UK my freshman summer, and I started training, and I was blessed to experience the technique, the training, the discipline. And, you know, Joe's a deacon in his very spiritual family. And meeting the Carrs with Fletcher driven to try to get us to win a national title, we were a powerhouse. I mean, we were a Southern school, SEC, top 10. We had some great wrestlers. Garrett was at 118. We had Reggie Burke at 118. At 26, a kid named Jim Florio. I was there. 34, we had Kurt Mock at that point. He was an All-American. We had Mercedes at 42. We had so many great wrestlers. Harold Smith. You had James Johnson. It goes on and on. But Fletcher put this team together with a lot of PA wrestlers But our starting lineup, my freshman year, had 10 wrestlers starting from 10 different states. So that was a lot of recruiting. So meeting the Carr family, I then was able to meet our sponsors. We had a great sponsorship group. We had Preston and Anita Madden. They were big sponsors for the team. We also had Boonesboro Farm, Charlie and Lois Boone, and we had the Smiths, and the horse people from Kentucky sponsored the wrestlers, and they gave us support, and it was just an experience of a lifetime, training and wrestling. But the discipline is a gift that they gave us, and then academically they had study hall every for the freshmen. We had study hall 4 days a week. We had 5:30 practices. They focused on our academics as well. I mean, UK is a great academic school, and it was just a blessing to be part of the program. Fletcher was hands-on. Joe was the master. Like he kept everybody straight. I remember his son, little Joe, would be in the little basket, the car seat, while Joe was coaching me on Sunday for 5 hours. You had Hilda. Fletcher had two sons. I think Derek was one of them, and the two babies. It was just it was a blessing. UK had a great football team back there, a great wrestling team. We had a great basketball team. I think we won the nationals, NCAAs, as when I was a freshman. We had Rick Roby, I think Jack Deuce Givens. We had so many great wrestlers and basketball players there. Football, we had Art Still. We had Derek Ramsey. Both went on to play pro ball. I think we beat Penn State that year. We were ranked top 10 in the country. I think we finished 7th that year. So it was an amazing place. The people were great. The professors were great. I go back and I think about it, just nothing but fond memories. My teammates were wonderful. It was something that I would never trade. I wouldn't go to another school. It was amazing.
Man, a lot to unpack there. So let's kind of go through and hit some of those. Now, I believe Garrett said it in his video, but I can't remember. I know you guys wrestled at Memorial Coliseum there. Where was the practice room, the mat room, and all that when you guys were there?
Okay, Memorial Coliseum, if you went underneath it, it had a really beautiful wrestling room with showers, and it would walk out into the Coliseum. It was a beautiful place. They used to play some basketball there because they were building Rupp Arena. Sometimes before the basketball matches, we would actually have wrestling matches. Fletcher was always trying to pick up attendance, and we had a lot of support. So we trained there, and we used to run stadium steps, and the conditioning was great. It was like a top 10 team. We trained, we lifted. We had lifting programs, technique sessions. We did privates. I think Joe did a lot of privates. Randy Miller would. Our coaching staff was outstanding. We used to call Randy Miller Killer Miller. I think he came in my sophomore year, but Fletcher used to coach all the big guys. He actually showed me my look away double. And one year when I wrestled in the U.S. Open and I was outstanding wrestler, I took like 7 guys down in each match. I took a guy down using a move that when Fletcher showed it to me, I'm like, that's not going to work. And it worked. I'm like 5 years later, I'm like, this is Fletcher's look away double. So it's a lot of fun and a lot of fond memories.
Man, that's incredible. Just what you in the short time we've been filming this, in the last 5-10 minutes, you've gave more information than most people would ever have in a lifetime knowing about the University of Kentucky wrestling. And in Garrett's video, I believe he said I think this was before you got there, but I believe it was the 75-76 season. University of Kentucky broke and still holds the NCAA dual meet win record with 25 dual wins in a season. Now, brother, that's a lot of dual meet wrestling, but the way that the format was completely different than what it is in today's. This is the 9th of September 2025, and you may be able to add to this, but Garrett said that you guys, or well, that team, I should say, would like load up in 15 passenger vans and make like a loop around like Pennsylvania, then go like Ohio, Indiana, come back, and then do like a southern loop for the SEC schools. Do you remember much about that?
Well, yes, but when I was a freshman, um, we did van traveling too. But we were blessed because we would actually take private planes to wrestling matches. Uh, so the goal was to make varsity. So my freshman year, my weight class was loaded. We had recruits. Rodney Hooks was a three-time Oklahoma State champion. Reggie Adolphus Burke, he was a three-time state champion. Joe Leathers from Oklahoma, he was a three-time state champion. You had myself. You had Dave Walterman, he was a Kentucky state champion. So my weight class was loaded with freshmen because they were trying to build our lightweights. So the goal was if you make varsity, you get to go on the private plane with the team and you get to fly out and train, and then you get to wrestle Iowa State, Oklahoma State. We would do the Western tour. So we didn't always ride the vans. So I made varsity as a freshman and was able to travel with the team. I think they took 3 coaches, the trainer, and then like 13 wrestlers. So we did bring some backups, but we were flying on I think it was like a John Y. Brown's private prop plane. It was beautiful, it was like sitting in a hotel room over there. It was great. So we traveled, we wrestled, we did great. It was grueling competitions. As far as the van travel, we would take the vans and we went to the Great Lakes Open, which was in Erie, Pennsylvania. We actually took the vans all the way out to wrestle in no, that was in where is it, Nebraska. We had it was a qualifier for Tbilisi, so we would have to. It's called the Great Plains. So we went out there and we wrestled out there. I actually won that a couple times. I won the Great Lakes for the team. I won as a freshman too, the Great Lakes, but we would all take our 2 or 3 vans and we would travel out. We get our hotel, we'd make weight, we'd wrestle, then we'd travel back. We would video our matches. It was a top-notch program. You know, it would be a blessing if the SEC brought back wrestling because wrestling's becoming very popular. But the most amazing thing about UK wrestling, we had every Sunday they had the Matt Katz show on with Fletcher, and they would video and they would put the show on, and the wrestlers would go on TV, and it was just an amazing time because we were like real popular on campus. Like the wrestlers were popular. Everybody knew who we were, and they would announce us at the football games, the basketball games.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good, but we had a lot of All-Americans too. I mean, we were a great team.
We got the 1979. You guys will see a photo of it. The 1979, 1980 program with you guys at a horse farm. Does that on the front of the program? Everybody waving. You remember that?
Oh yeah, I was on the cover.
I was going to say it's Fletcher and Joe, and I believe it's Harold Smith, you, and I don't know the other two.
Well, probably was Earl Rayford and James
Can you
Johnson.
can you see that?
Yeah, yeah, and barely. Let me see if I can. Yeah, it's Earl Rayford, and it looks like James Johnson, JJ, and Fletcher.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
we've got the roster or the program here has got some statistics. Now this is from I believe the last year of University of Kentucky wrestling was 80-81. Is that correct?
I think I don't know. I left, went to New York and wrestled for the New York Athletic Club in Manhattan. So I think it was a year after that, maybe 81, 82. I mean,
Okay. Well, this is from the not the 79-80 program. University of Kentucky, as of that time, had a 77, 40, and 1 duel record. The most wins ever in a NCAA season was 26. I got that. It was 26, not 25. And that was in the 74-75 season. Harold Smith in the 1976-77 season had a dual meet record, incredible 18-0 undefeated. Just some of these stats are just absolutely crazy. Most consecutive dual wins, Jimmy Carr 74-75 with 28 dual meet wins, which is the most pins consecutive. Harold Smith with 7 in dual meets. I mean, just some of these names, some of these records are just incredible that people don't know about. So let's talk about the University of Kentucky's SEC champions, because I put out that screen graphic, and as soon as I posted it, people started tagging you. What about Ricky Dellagatta? I was like, no, I'm not. I didn't have the information, and I want to say thank you to David DeStefano for hooking us up and getting this lined up. 1998 state champion out of Simon Kenton, because he, to his credit, he wanted to get it correct, and that's what we want, is correct information. 1975, 118 pounds, Garrett Headley. He has, you guys will see a photo, but he has his original ankle band and the SEC championship plaque he was awarded there hanging in his office. Really nice shadow box. Jimmy Carr at 126. Joe Carr Sr. at 167 was all SEC champions in 75. Kurt Mock in 76 at 134. Tim Macedas at 142. And of course, Joe Carr Sr. at 167. And also in 1976, University of Kentucky won their first SEC team championship. Then in 77, Jimmy Carr at 126, Kurt Mock at 134, Joe Carr Sr. at 167, and then Harold Smith, a heavyweight SEC champion. And also that year, SEC team champions for University of Kentucky. Then in 1980, Harold Smith was SEC champion, and I believe you were SEC champion in 80. Was it 80 or 81, or was it both of those?
I think we changed, and there were some problems with Title IX, and then they switched us to the Midwest Regional, and the SEC was kind of falling apart. But I think we had a couple junior college national champions transfer in. We had a Curtis Longstreet. We had William Green. William's a coach there now. I don't know who won. I'd have to look at my records, but I know we were great. I won SECs, I think one time, and then I won the Midwest region the following year, because they changed our competition venue for qualifying for the nationals. And I don't know if you were familiar with Title IX. Programs. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned William Green. I tell everybody that we're cousins. So, no, man, William's my guy, man. I like Coach Green. He's a firecracker. You know what I mean? He's always all time up, 100% for his kids, all time up.
Well, his real name is Muscles.
Oh, is that? I have to call. Hey, I've got a video of him doing one of those grip strength testers. He only got like 30 pounds. He's like, man, this thing's broke. I'm like, man, it ain't broke. Don't tell me that. But
we all had nicknames, and his nickname was Muscles. Everybody, Harold Smith was H. Everybody had a nickname.
So Kentucky got moved from the SEC to the Midwest. I didn't know that. That's a good piece of history. So I guess that would have been what, between the 80, was it between the 80 and 81 season, or 81 and 82? Do you remember?
I think 80, 81. I have to bring my booklets out.
Okay. That's fine. No problem. Now let's talk about University of Kentucky's NCAA All-Americans. Joe Carr Sr. got third in 1975 at 167. Kurt Mock got sixth at 134. Joe Carr again got third at 167. In 77, Jimmy Carr got fifth at 126. Kurt Mock got fourth at 134. Tim Macedas got sixth at 142. And Harold Smith got third at heavyweight. And it should be noted that Joe Carr got injured. Some people say he was the odds-on favorite that year to be NCAA champion, but he was injured I think in the first or second round and couldn't continue. Now, in 1979, you fourth place at 126. 1980, you again fourth place at 126, and Harold Smith, heavyweight, got sixth place. And
no, I was third place.
Third and 80.
I was fourth and third twice.
Okay, that's my mistake. Then I've got it wrong. The papers got it wrong, I should say. So you got third in 1980 at 126. Harold got sixth at heavyweight, and then in 1981, you guys will see a photo of this. You're on the podium there. You got third again at 134. I believe I sent you that photo.
Yeah,
And the name of the guy that won it that year escapes me. You told me, but I cannot remember it.
that was Jim Gibbons. During the season, I beat him 12-2.
Oh, did you? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. I remember you telling me that, and that was
I had a hurt shoulder that year, bad, so it was
yeah.
tough. I lost to a guy named Dalen Wasman, and then I wrestled back a bunch of matches, and then I got him in the third, fourth match, and I beat him. So I guess the guy that took second was Daryl Burley that year. I wrestled Daryl in freestyle. I had a dominant record against him, but scholastically, I don't think I've ever wrestled him. He was a great wrestler. He was a four-time NCAA finalist. He won. He won two. Daryl did. He was great.
Now
I think
was he from Lehigh? Is that
Lehigh.
correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then, man, I love you guys are seeing the photos. Of course, the Iowa State guys got the gi on, the karate gi with the belt. Lehigh's got their browns on. You and that Kentucky blue, and then the Minnesota guy. What was his name that you
I was
beat?
Dalen Wasman,
Okay,
Minnesota.
yes, yeah. Like I said, man, I've got so much going through my head. I want to get out to you. And was that it? Was that in Princeton, New Jersey? Is that correct?
Princeton, New Jersey. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wanted to make sure. So, man, um, that photo kind of set the University of Kentucky track for me wanting to find all this information because there's a good friend of the channel reached out because this past year the 25 NCAA tournament, one of your sons wrestles for Cornell and made it to the NCAA tournament. They sent me this photo, and you're like, and the message was this guy's dad wrestled for Kentucky, and I'm like, now what? Wait a minute. So talk to us there real quick about the second generation wrestling Delegatas.
Well, we started them young, and they trained and wrestled. Michael went to the NCAAs as a freshman. He weighs out of practice, I think, about 190, 185, 186. So he wrestled up last year and qualified for the NCAAs. This year, I think he's probably going to sit, so he'll have 3 more years at Cornell to wrestle. My son Rocco just committed. He's doing an RTC program, and he will be wrestling for Cornell this year for the Spartan Wrestling Club at their RTC, but then next year he'll be wrestling for the Big Red. So hopefully, God willing, my sons will both be wrestling for the Big Red, and Mike will have maybe 3 years with Rocco.
Man,
Rocco was a
that's awesome.
Fargo champion. Rocco won Fargo. Very dominant wrestlers, but they were trained, and we used to have the cars come visit us in when we were in Texas and in New Jersey, and we would always run camps with the cars because our technique is parallel to Joe and Fletcher's technique. So they help train my kids. So they are even my New Jersey teams. We trained our all second generation car. We use a lot of their techniques and training, just a master technique. Joe was a great thrower. Nate the Great was a great thrower. His son Nate Jr. is now the head coach at Davidson. How about that? So he's great. Little Joe, Joe Carr's son, is a master coach. He wrestled for West Virginia. So I mean, the Carr family is like the first family of wrestling. They just have 3 generations of national champs in their family, and they have an impact on everybody that they touch in life. They're really quality people and quality coaches. Like I said, Joe was my mentor, and I always call him and say, "Hey Joe, did I ever thank you again?"
Yeah, yeah, man. I got a lot of respect for Joe, for Nate, for David, Joe Jr. Joe, I believe his name's Joe the Third. He's coming up. He's going to be a little hammer as well. I feel like I've been officiating him since like you said, they brought him to meets in the car seat and they put a headgear. All right, they'd get out there and he'd beat some of the kids he's wrestling against. But man, the cars in Kentucky, man, they have their impact is felt all over all over the state. And when we put out Joe Carr, when we started the review series, we met and we done Joe Carr Jr.'s, his 4 state championships, and everybody loved seeing it because they'd heard you had to be in the gym. We didn't have the ability like this or pull up a phone and watch it. You had to be there. And now that we finally got him on the channel, everybody's like, oh my God, Joe was better than what everybody said and all this. And I'm just like, yeah, he was good. You know what I mean? He's one of the best to ever come out of Kentucky. And the stories, I'll tell you one quick real story about Joe Senior. Um, it was one of the years Joe Jr. was still in high school. They had kind of, I guess Joe's birthday is somewhere like November, December, somewhere in wrestling season. I don't remember what exactly, but they all kind of conspired to get Joe to show them like a bottom technique. They had their heavyweight kind of, flatten out. All right, coach, what do we do here? And they were like, I guess, going to go around and give him like, a spank on the butt or whatever. And as soon as he saw what was coming, he hopped up, got hand control, got out, ran out of the room. And he was like, how in the world this guy got away from all of us and didn't get scathed is unbelievable. I was like, I can see it. I can see it. But man, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, David relocated to Kentucky, I think when he was in 7th or 8th grade.
Eighth grade, that's correct.
Wrestled in Kentucky, won the states there, and then he went on to win multiple state championships in Ohio. Then he went to Iowa State. His dad's out there helping coach now with the family. What a great family! So so they had the tradition. They brought him in for a year and then they shipped him back out. But technically, I actually send wrestlers from New Jersey down to train at the Cars club. And I get the calls and they're like, oh my gosh, it's an amazing opportunity. I said, if you want to get your basics down and your technique and your training techniques, send them down to Kentucky. So I'll give them Joe or Little Joe's number and then they'll go down and train. And even our high school team, which was probably a top 5 team in the country, I sent a couple of our guys down there and they're still talking about it. So actually one wrestles for Kenny Monday at Morgan State, and the other young man is going to be going to Brown. He's doing his last year in Connecticut at a prep school. But when they went down there, they just they raved about it, and they thank me every time we talk about it.
And that inside of the Cars Academy there, that's where we filmed Joe's 4 review videos. So if you're a fan of the Cars, go back and watch Joe Jr.'s 93, 95, 96, and 97 state championship review videos. It's something you said there about David Carr. He was an 8th grader, 2014, come to Kentucky, and he actually beat a 2-time defending state champion from Union County that went on to wrestle at Oklahoma University. So he was an 8th grader beating a 2-time defending senior. And Trey, I love you, but David controlled the match. I'll say it like that. David absolutely just from start to finish, man, he was better. No other way to say it.
Well, the Kentucky folks should watch this coming week. David is wrestling in the world team for the U.S. team this week, and he's something. He actually beat Messenbrink from Penn State. I was out at the U.S. U23 Nationals and saw David wrestle out there, and then he had to come back and win 2 matches against Messenbrink, and they didn't pick him to win. I picked him to win, of course, and he won. Like I told Fletcher was out there. Fletcher met us out there, and I said, when it comes time to be ready, David will be ready because he's always ready, and he really did outstanding. And he was up at Cornell doing some workouts about 3 weeks ago. I was up there. I saw David up at Cornell. He was, they put the time in. They're very disciplined. So I'm excited to see how he does in this year's World Championships.
And the 2024 NCAA Finals, David Carr and was it Keegan O'Toole? Was that who he wrestled from Missouri?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, let me tell you, I've been I was in the football stadium when we beat LSU when they were #1. I was in the stadium when we beat Louisville with Brian Brom and all that bunch. I've been to some big basketball games when David was up wrestling and he for that second NCAA championship and he hit that double leg and scored. I mean, I was like, oh my God. I was so pumped, man. It was incredible.
Keegan's no slouch. He beat great wrestlers. Like
Mhm.
I'm talking, he beat, but he's a great wrestler. So we're expecting great things for him as he trains for the Olympics. God willing, he stays healthy and he's at a great weight right now. So I'm a fan. I follow. I talk to his brother Nate Jr.,
Mhm.
who coaches Davidson. Sometimes he'll look for recruits that have really good grades to go wrestle for him. So he's doing a great job there. I think he's making a real big impact at Davidson. So you got to follow his program. He's doing amazing things. He was with Lock Haven for a while too.
Mhm.
Did a great job there. So it's just all about wrestling with those guys.
Oh yeah, and the talking about we'll talk say this, then we'll move on. But man, if David makes it to the Olympics in 2028, that'll be absolutely incredible. I mean, uh, that'll be awesome, awesome for the Woodford County fans, the Kentucky, because he wrestled here for a year. I know Iowa State, they put guys in the Olympics all the time, but still, just having somebody that you got to watch in high school compete in the Olympics is just incredible. I mean, it really is. Now, in the first part of the video, I said I'm a major University of Kentucky fan. I grew up watching basketball, football, going to the games, all that, going to the camps whenever they would have them close, doing the autograph sessions. But I never, up until about 3 days ago, seen a University of Kentucky wrestling match. Well, guess what? We have video of. I'll let you set the scene. Tell us who you're wrestling. Tell us where it's at. Give us the particulars.
Um, it was in Ohio. Uh, I think it was at the University of Ohio. It was the East West All Star match. It was that year. Harold, I think, had graduated, so he wasn't there. We were on the East West team because they would pick the #1 guy from the East and the #1 guy from the West, and they
Mm.
would wrestle in the East West All Star. It would be in February, so it was very prestigious to make that team. The year before, I was on the team with Harold, and then that year I was on the team, but I wrestled a gentleman, Gary Bohe, who ended up being a bronze medalist in the Olympics. He was ranked Amateur Wrestling News. They had different publications, but he was ranked #2 and #3 in some publications. I was ranked #1 in other publications. So we were meeting to wrestle in Ohio, and that was a good team because I had a bunch of my former U.S. teammates wrestled with me. Like Gene Mills was at 118. He was a former NYAC teammate. Andre Metzger was on. So I was there with a bunch of my guys that we traveled the world wrestling with. So it was a fun competition, and I was blessed and a little beat up from the season because we wrestled a lot of matches, but
Yeah.
I ended up defeating Gary, and I was hitting him with a lot of Joe Carr technique.
And I was going to ask you, what weight is this at?
Well, it was 126 because I wrestled 26, 34, and 49. But for that season, I was at 126. I ended up moving up to 134 because I had a shoulder injury.
Okay.
I couldn't put the time in.
Well, man, we're going to pull it up here. For those watching at home or watching on your phone or wherever you may be, you got to think this is the original 19, I believe, 81, correct?
East West All Star. Yeah, there it is.
1981. So this footage is a few days old, but it's incredible to have. I mean, it is just absolutely, absolutely incredible to have. Now, I would have to imagine that Fletcher and Joe were in your corner. Is that correct?
Yes, they were.
Okay. And man, I'm excited to let the world watch this. So here we go. Of course, you're in that dark Kentucky blue singlet.
Yes, I'm on the left right there if you're watching the screen.
Yep.
Yeah, and they got the headgear on and smacking the body. Bohei was a good upper body wrestler too.
Was he?
Yeah, he was very good. Actually, he had a great career. So we're trying to set up tack to move him with some hand fighting.
Mm.
Okay, that was like we call that a sit duck, where you
Hmm.
pop him when he comes back, then try to throw in a cross body ride to get a turn. If he doesn't turn, you let him up and then try to take him down again. Elbows in, reach and try to get him moving. He was tough. I mean, this guy's no joke, so he's battling. He he had a good high crotch. He was really good for Canada too. I think he won the Canadian Nationals and I won the U.S. Open Nationals because I won I think three of them.
Hmm.
So I was trying to do some throws here. I didn't pull the elbow there. I missed it. So we're
That's something about the talking about Joe Carr trained or Carr trained is no matter if they're a lightweight or a heavier weight wrestler, it seems like that. I don't know if Joe or anybody studied like judo or jujitsu or what, but really good at like throws and trips. Something that you really don't see a lot of in wrestling, but they incorporate it in. Is that something you guys like practiced? Was like judo sweeps and throws or?
right. We did a lot of judo throws and sweeps. I used to do foot picks where you take the foot. I think in this match I scooped the leg right there, then he falls, and then I rotate around to an opposite side shot. That was a foot pick. I get the guy to pull his leg back using my foot. When he pulls his leg back, my head goes to the opposite side, and you rotate. Because Joe was working with me a lot on duck unders in college. We mastered the duck series. You know, who was great with ducks was Nate too. Nate had some really good ducks because he would duck everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then our bottom was good too. I mean, UK was solid, top, bottom, and on our feet. We were really masters on our feet. That's why we won a lot of competitions because we would always get our takedowns. And
I got you.
one year we were wrestling Oklahoma State in a really controversial match, and we actually beat them. We beat them, so we beat them on our feet, and we actually beat Oklahoma on our feet.
Wow.
Boot scoop.
Now,
Yeah.
right there, he does a really good job scrambling, but something too about you just keep the pressure on him. You don't give him a chance to breathe.
Well, that was a pressure style. Some guys you can slow it down. He was good with underhooks, and I was good with underhook counters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, he was a quality. I think I beat him. I think 17 something, 17-6 or something. I think I lost one takedown in this match. Actually, that year I didn't lose many takedowns, but this guy was no joke. He was good. So and the officiating was really good at the East West because
Mm-hmm.
the NCAA's the quality organization. So try to get him to shoot on my leg by reaching with the front leg arm because when he reaches on my leg, then I could hit the boot scoop.
There it
That was
is.
that's a form of a Metzger, Andre Metzger's move. But you know who showed me that was Joe Carr. He went up to World Training Camp. He came back and we worked on that takedown. And I still do it when I'm practicing with the kids. And my Rocco's really good with it. Rocco hits people with it all the time. So you guys got to watch Rocco and Michael in the next couple of years at Cornell. You'll be following them, hopefully, God willing, at the NCAAs too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Now, right there, kind of went for it. He was able to shrug it off, but it didn't look like it affected you. So, young wrestlers, even top level NCAA wrestlers, don't always get or succeed on a move that they're trying for. So if you don't get something, keep wrestling. Don't stop. Don't let it deter you. Because right there, Ricky got a pretty tough takedown. He's got good control on top.
Well, for that move, I attack real low. You have to attack low to get him to pull his leg back. And then when he pulls his leg back, my arm rotates up, push the elbow. It's almost like a form of an elbow pass. Go to the hip. When you pull the hip, he faces you. When he faces you, you follow through with a like a flow shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like your body flows to it. You got high crotches, doubles, singles. So Bohey was really good on bottom too. He was not. Yeah, he actually. I think he ended up being an NCAA finalist as well. I didn't follow his career after I graduated too much. So I'm baiting him to get up on his feet, but he was like really good with 2-on-1s,
Mm-hmm.
kind of an international style. He was up at UCLA. Yeah, he was a battler. Like he didn't break because I tried to pressure him and break him because Joe liked us to break guys too.
Yeah.
Yeah, see that was a duck under. That was a sit duck.
And
So
that was good. That was slick.
Yeah, you're slick. Our bottom was really good because we do when we're on bottom, we do quad pods a little bit. We do quad pods and we do stand ups, but we used to do an extended quad pod on the bottom for young wrestlers. The quad pod, you fake a shot, stand up one side, get the long leg, quad pod your weight back, get it extended, put your back straight. Our boys still do this. Everybody's using quad pods. Catch the head right there. Boom.
Nice job.
That's a preset stand up. Sometimes you don't catch the head, but you get out with a knee slide. So it was a very fun competition. It's funny looking at it because I haven't watched it that much, but looking at it years later, you don't realize the technique that you're used to get angles.
Mm-hmm.
So I think and I don't like to say this, but I think the West beat us this competition. I was trying to hip toss, I missed the elbow, but the West beat us that competition time. They actually they defeated us. I think 7 matches to 3. So,
Oh,
but which a lot of times the East wrestling has become dominant with Penn State, but back in those days you had Iowa, Iowa State, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and then on the East Coast, Kentucky was a powerhouse. Oh, there's a there's a sit duck again. Ooh, that's sweet, right?
yeah. Well, hey, you made it work. You know what I mean?
But to make it work on this guy, you got to really hit it perfect because he's no joke. He's no joke.
Now, something too about collegiate wrestling, most people don't understand is like I think you said earlier, but you have a game plan. You don't just go out and wrestle. You know this person's good at this. Let's stay away from whatever. And you've really not tried for any pinning combinations. You've got your takedowns and then cutting. Was that something that the cars were like, do not try this with this guy?
Well, he's a very powerful guy, and I'd have to catch him to pin him. So I figured it's East West. I'm just going to dominate him and try to tech fall him and score a ton of points. I mean, we could go for if the team needed a pin. Like I think my senior year with tech falls and pins because we had a lot of matches because we did a lot of tournaments. But I think I had like 25 between. I got the chart between pins and tech falls. I think I had 16 pins that year. So
Wow.
yeah, but we could pin. But this guy's no joke. Yeah, he got a takedown when I got out. Look at him, he was no joke. But pinning him would be tough because he keeps great position. Like he was a great wrestler. Like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I can't take nothing away from him. He's ranked number 2 in the country. So
Yeah.
I just was moving a lot more than he wanted to feel that
So
motion. Yep.
you get a pretty good reversal right there.
Yes, sir.
Now, yep, we're out of bounds. They're going to restart here.
Yeah, this is a good one. Let him up and then attack low, drop the level, go for the low leg. I was trying to shoulder throw there, trying to get some more points. Attack it
Nothing yet.
like David Carr and Joe Carr, attack, right?
Yep.
Nate was like that. He was vicious too. So thank you for showing that. It was brings back some great memories.
Oh, yeah, man. Absolutely. There you are, man. Getting your hand raised.
Yep. Get to celebrate with Joe and Fletcher afterwards.
Yeah. And whenever you sent me the link, I just couldn't believe. I was like, that's a University of Kentucky singlet. That's a University of Kentucky match. There, I called the UK athletic office. I called the UK library. I called the television stations. I called KYT, LEA. I called everybody, and nobody had any footage. And when you sent me that, I was like, "Oh my God, what are we doing here?" So it's incredible, man, to have University of Kentucky NCAA All American, SEC champion, and have an actual match. I mean, that's incredible.
Well, it
And
was.
you wrestled incredible too.
Thank you, sir. It was. We worked for that. That did not come easy. Trust me.
You
When
know,
you
I was gonna say that one. It wasn't like you just got out there and accidentally started wrestling good. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's a lot of time in the mat room and a lot of experience.
them 5:30 in the morning runs with Fletcher and Joe. Like we got school and we were getting up 5:30 and hitting our runs and our lifts. Yeah, they did not play. They trained. Our team was. That's why we were top 10 in the country. Think about it. An SEC school is a top five team in the country, top 10 team in the country, and we had like three All Americans, two All Americans. We were right there. We had guys make the blood round. We had Andre Offutt, was a Kentucky wrestler. He
Right.
qualified for the NCAAs. I think he was one of the first Kentucky wrestlers to qualify for the NCAAs, which was good. I mean, there was a kid, Robbie Clarkson, came in. He was
Yep.
a talent. I thought he had the potential to be really good. I think he got hurt. You got to stay healthy. In our room, it was so deep that you're battling every day. A lot of guys, like I had a bad shoulder, and I think that kind of inhibited me a little bit. What was my win record? Like 124 and 23. I won 124 matches. So,
Wow.
I mean, but we wrestled like crazy. Like we would wrestle the Great Lakes or Great Plains, the Midlands. I mean, we'd have 5 tournaments a year. And then we had a regular dual meet season plus your SEC tournament, and SEC was no joke either. I mean, to qualify that, so the memories are good. The coaching was great, man. It brings a big smile to my face just thinking about it.
Oh
Oh,
man. And that's something that that's the whole goal of this is just to bring awareness of what we had. I mean, like you said, in 78, you had Jack Givens, a Lexington kid. You had Rick Roby. You had Mike Phillips. Is there Mike Phillips or Mike Tom? I think it was Mike Phillips because he
I
passed
felt,
away.
yeah.
You had James Lee. You had Union County. You had Dwayne Casey, Kyle Macy, all these guys of Kentucky native on the sideline from Harrison County, Joby Hall, doing all
Go,
this
go.
basketball stuff. And the wrestling team was right there. I mean, they were right there with the University of or the basketball program, and people just don't know that because the basketball team. Don't get me wrong. I love University of Kentucky basketball. I have my shirts, my hats. I go to games and all that kind of stuff. Everybody knows how I feel about that. But man, it's too not taking anything away from Title IX. The women deserve equal opportunity as well. It was just a shame at how SEC wrestling and the University of Kentucky wrestling had to be what was on the chopping block. You know what I mean?
Well, it's back now because women's wrestling is dominating. It's one of the fastest growing high school sports in the country. They're offering many scholarships. They're offering more scholarships with collegiate wrestling between club Division One, Division Two, Division Three, NAIA. There's plenty of opportunity to wrestle, and it's a great sport. They now have the new Professional Wrestling League,
Yep.
Real American Freestyle. They just had their first competition there. Actually, that was something with Hulk Hogan. He just passed away.
Yep.
So, a funny story, my brother-in-law, Charlie Haas, wrestled for Seton Hall, but he went on to be a WWE superstar, and he wrestled with Kurt Angle on Team Angle, and he actually competed against Hulk Hogan and actually defeated him in Madison Square Garden, and that's the pro wrestling. So
Yeah.
we're a wrestling family, and we have a blessed. I had so many great teammates. I think about Lane Young and oh my God, all our guys, Harold, and our team was spectacular. I mean, you think about it, we could go up against anybody. Like when Oklahoma State was ranked like third in the country, we lost by 2 points, and we lost on a bad call.
Oh.
We had pinned. I think we had a guy pinned, and they didn't call it. If they would have called the pin, we would have beat him that year. So we could go with the best of them, and we were trained by the best. That's why. So I just would dream if UK would bring back wrestling and the SEC, because our high school teams are dominant. Jersey's really tough.
Mhm.
So we had 8 nationally ranked high school wrestlers on one high school team. So I think with the opportunities for wrestling today, I think it's something that UK should consider. It would be a great honor for men's and women's wrestling. So I think if they could bring it back, it would be like a dream come true. We should get all the guys together and write a petition.
Oh yeah, and speaking of writing a petition, I'm so glad that you said that. This is where Alex becomes an influencer. This is where I get on the Hall of Fame train. Currently, the University of Kentucky has two wrestlers in the UK Hall of Fame. One is Jimmy Carr. He was the first Olympic wrestler to be selected for the Olympics while still in high school in '72. He was on the team with Dan Gable. Maybe you've heard of that guy if you're a wrestling fan. I think Dan Gable's pretty popular. And refresh my memory. Who's the other University of Kentucky Hall of Famer of wrestling?
James Johnson.
Yes, and he was it the 2012 Greco coach? Is that right? 2016, something like that.
He was a silver medalist in the world. I think he was a three-time world medalist. Was JJ, and he was a great international wrestler, but he was also a U.S. Greco coach, and he was like family to me. He passed away, unfortunate accident, but he was great. Now, as far as wrestling, they probably have a whole handful of us that if they would honor us, probably belong in the Hall of Fame. I have a good story for you. When I left to go wrestle for the New York Athletic Club, my year after my senior year, and I was like 6 hours short from graduating. So I think in 2013, my wife's like, "You didn't graduate?" I said, "Well, I was taking these correspondence courses and I didn't finish them." So she went, my wife, Kara, goes on the phone and she calls and she says, "There's a guy at the UK. His name's Mr. Bob Bradley." I said, "Bob Bradley? He was my academic advisor." So she has me call him, and Bob says, "Hey, Rick, you want to graduate?" I said, "Yeah, I would love to." So they sent me a couple of correspondence courses. I finished them, and then I got my degree 2000, I think it was 2013. That's crazy. And I had left to go to wrestle at the New York Athletic Club in 1981. So I actually did graduate from UK, which is
Man, that is awesome. And something too that I want to make sure that people understand what needs to be done here. This is the part we're going to put on social media for a short clip. There is a handful of wrestlers that deserve to be in UK's Hall of Fame. They deserve to be recognized. You're on that list. Joe Carr Sr. is on that list. Harold Smith is on that list. I believe Garrett Headley deserves to be on that list. Fletcher, Macedas,
yeah.
Kirk Mock.
Mm-hmm.
There's 6 or 7 guys that wrestled at the University of Kentucky that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Some of the people that are going in there now, I'm not saying they're not deserving, but there's wrestlers that deserve it more. So Mitch Barnhart, the University of Kentucky Athletic Department, do the right thing. Our wrestling history deserves to be celebrated. We deserve to have banners up in, whether you put them in Rupp Arena, you put them in Memorial, Coliseum, whatever, however you feel, celebrate the SEC championships. The teams celebrate the NCAA All-Americans, celebrate the SEC individual champions. The coaches that made this happen with Fletcher and Joe. The University of Kentucky wrestling has a very, very proud history that not everybody knows about. And I am going to make it my mission that everybody that is a Kentucky fan knows about what University of Kentucky wrestling stands for. We were on our way to being a power. We just were. And some things out of our control happened. We couldn't do anything about it as far as the Title IX. But that doesn't mean that our history should be forgotten. That doesn't mean that the guys that forged that path should be forgotten. And it's gentlemen like Ricky, gentlemen like Joe Carr Sr., Harold Smith, Tim Macedas, Kirk Mock, Garrett Headley, Fletcher, all these guys, they deserve that moment to where the big blue nation, the fan base, whether it's at a basketball game, a football game, they get recognized for what they done for our state, our university, and our athletic program. Now, I've said my piece. Sir, feel free to add in anything you'd like.
It would be great if they could bring back college wrestling to UK. It would be a blessing. So when Dave DiStefano He wrestled with me at the New York Athletic Club. He was after I was there, but he was a Kentucky wrestler. So we have that relationship because we share the Blue Nation. Uh, UK always did right by all their athletes, all the wrestlers, all the basketball players, football, the girls gymnastics and soccer. UK was just an outstanding university. They always did the right thing for their athletes. They made sure that we focused on education and athletics. Uh, it was a great program, and it would be good if they could consider bringing it back. I don't know what it would take now that women's is like the fourth, is the largest uh, high school sport, fastest growing high school sport in America. So I'm sure Kentucky wrestling for women are great. Maybe they could bring back men's and women's wrestling. So I think that's a political discussion with the university. It's probably not as expensive for a wrestling program as it is for football, but let's see. Hey,
Yeah.
we had a tough one this week. It was tough.
Yeah, it was tough, man. It was a tough loss. Believe me, I thought we could knock Ole Miss off again like we done last year. Well, and funny story about that is last year when Kentucky beat Ole Miss, I traveled to Louisville. I done 3 state championship review videos that morning, and then we had Kentucky's version of who's number one that evening. So I'm going around watching everybody warm up, watching my phone. And I'm like, yeah, we beat them there, and I was going around, yeah, high fiving people and stuff. So it was just an incredible history. University of Kentucky wrestling needs to be celebrated, and it's gentlemen like yourself, everybody that wore the big blue singlet, and you talked about Dave Walterman, University of Kentucky wrestler, 1977 state champion for Kentucky. You mentioned Robbie Clarkston. Of course, Robbie passed away, several years ago. But Robbie is a 4-time state champion. His 1981 state championship review video is on the channel. We done a memorial video with his head coach and one of his teammates. So if you've never got to watch Robbie wrestle in high school, that video is on the channel. A lot of Kentucky guys. The first Kentucky high school All-American, NCAA All-American, David Grant from Tates Creek. He wrestled at UK for a couple seasons.
He was on our team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coaches at Mankato State. I can't believe I left his name out. And then Brian Boone. Brian Boone transferred from UK, went to Oklahoma State and started for them and was the roommate with John Smith. So Brian Boone, his Charlie and Lois Boone had Boonesboro Farm. He resides in Lexington, and he's got, his boys are successful in business and sports, and he's got a daughter who's a dentist. And Connie Boone is just an outstanding person, and just so much tradition there. And I was shocked when Brian transferred, but when they dropped the program, he went all the way out to Oklahoma State. I don't think Connie met Brian until after wrestling, which was funny. But he was wrestling for Oklahoma State. I'm getting the results. I'm like, Brian Boone from Kentucky, wrestling for Oklahoma State. So think about the progression he made just because we had the college program and the development was there, because we could develop wrestlers there. We really could. I mean, with the cars in the room, nothing's impossible. There's so many Kentucky wrestlers that were great wrestlers. We had Jim Montaigne, who passed away. Mike Andreoni, he had a son who was a state champion in Kentucky, and actually his son, I think, is wrestling college. So I talked to Mike. I try to reach out to all the guys, so they keep the tradition going. It's great to see UK wrestlers having their sons compete as well. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and talking, Mike's son, Max, was a 2017 state champion for Woodford County. And then I believe the youngest son's name's Gavin. He was in the 2022 state finals and come up a little bit short there against a guy named Reese Goss in overtime. And I think Gavin, I could be wrong, but I think he's either at University of the Cumberlands or it's one of the Kentucky schools. I'm pretty sure. I may be wrong about the Cumberlands. If I am, please forgive me, but I think that's where he's at. But yeah, man, there's a lot of guys that have.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So Mike, I think, was an Alabama state champion. He came in. It was probably a year or two older than me when I came in. He came in before me, but he came in and he actually made Lexington his home, and his family and his boys wrestled. And great guy, great family, and great wrestler. He wrestled for UK as well. I think he had a knee problem, but like I said, those injuries will take it out of you, especially in college.
And you were talking there about go back to David Grant real quick. Of course, after Kentucky dropped his program, he went on to the University of Northern Iowa, become a 1984 All American eighth place. But then after that, he was a head coach at NIU, Northern Illinois University,
Northern Illinois, that's it. Yeah.
for several years. I forget, like 2013, 2014, he retired. And a lot of people don't know that. You know, a Lexington guy wrestled at Tate's Creek. He was in the 1980 state finals, Kentucky state finals. I mean, just that kind of history, man, is just like, had no idea till we started putting it out. So that's what, man, that's just something I love about this review series and getting to hear the stories from guys that were there, not third party, not, heard it from a friend who knew this guy, whatever. It's guys that were there, that done it. And we're getting that information out for the rest of the Kentucky wrestling community, and even, I guess, now the national community, because you are such you've been around wrestling so long in so many states. People know you, man, from one coast to the other, from one border to the other border, man. You're a well-known guy in the wrestling community. So, Ricky, man, we've talked a lot, we've covered a lot, went over a lot of stuff. Is there anything that we haven't talked about, or anything you'd like to add in before we wrap it up here?
I'd like to thank you for taking your time to promote Kentucky wrestling and the history of Kentucky wrestling. Always wanted to thank the university because it was just an amazing place. It's an experience. We did lose a lot of the wrestlers to other programs when they dropped our program because we were a powerhouse. You got to think, an SEC school that was top five, top 10 in the country. Think about all the guys that when the program dropped, they scattered. Like Boone went to Oklahoma State, Grant went to Illinois. I mean, we lost a bunch of them, but we were a powerhouse, and it's good to have the memories and the tradition. So the only thing I'd say is keep getting great. Kentucky, I think they had two Fargo champs this year.
Yes, the one of the Rainey twins, and then another guy from Union County as well, named Luke Ricketts. And what's crazy about that, of course, the Rainey twins, they're committed to Oklahoma State. As of this filming, they are in Croatia, getting ready for, I think, is it World Greco or World Freestyle over there next week?
Yeah, they have some youth wrestling going on, but
Yeah.
but they listen. I had for Fargo is like the one of the toughest tournaments in the country, and we had 40 guys from New Jersey go. I had like 5 guys that train with us. We had 5 in the finals 2 years ago, and we had 4 champs, and we had a second. This year, New Jersey didn't even have a state champion, and Kentucky, I mean, have a national champion. Kentucky had 2, which shows the quality of wrestling in Kentucky is really growing. So it's exciting. I'm sure those guys will make an impact at Oklahoma State. That's a great up and coming program. They fell from grace a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in the gentleman from Penn State, David Taylor. They're doing amazing things with their program as well.
And the both of the Rainey twins, Jordan and Jaden, they're going, I believe it's in Iowa. They're wrestling in the Who's Number One preseason tournament. October, I believe, is when it is, mid part of October. So, man, we're expecting big things out of them. They both could be ranked number 1 in their weight class and probably top 2 or 3 in the nation overall, pound for pound. So, man, we got let's get it done, fellas. You know what I mean?
I'll be following that.
Yeah.
Go Kentucky.
Me too, man. There's going to be a lot of people in Kentucky across whether they're in the state or they moved or whatever. Just the impact that Jordan and Jaden's had on the community to get everybody excited, man, has been crazy. Just the these are some of our guys. You know what I mean? We can get behind these no matter who they are or where they're from. So, man, I think we've covered all. Got about all we can get out of this one.
Yes.
Been a long time coming, man. Ricky, thank you for doing this. Greatly appreciate it. Dave DeStefano, man, you're my man. Thank you for hooking this up. Um, it was good getting to do this, and like I said, man, hopefully we hear some good things about University of Kentucky wrestling and getting you guys some recognition, or at least the program some recognition that it truly deserves. So thank you all for watching. Greatly appreciate this video. It's been I've been looking forward to this for a long time. So we're going to wrap this one up here. We will see you guys and girls on the mats.
God bless you guys. Thank you.